in the world going on out here?
All these people are here for the merch, but we're sold out.
They're here for the merch?
Yeah.
That's amazing. It's amazing. The merch is amazing.
It's amazing. It's amazing.
The merch is amazing.
Subscribe now.
When times get tough, you need to get proud. No need to look backward, put your feet on the ground. Stand up, stand up.
Welcome to the Fallen State. I am Jesse Lee Peterson. Don't forget to help us fight this censorship thing. And the way you help us by hitting the thumbs up. And don't forget to subscribe and ring the bell. Ring my bell. I absolutely appreciate it. I'm talking to Sam Tripoli.
Tripoli.
Tripoli, T-R-I-P.
On my show, I butcher everybody's name, so I can't get mad when somebody does mine, so I appreciate your attempt.
It's such a sharp name, though, Tripoli.
Thank you.
I like the name.
My dad loves it.
Yeah. And you are a comedian and a podcast host.
Yes.
I really appreciate you coming.
Well, I appreciate you having me down. Your studio's amazing. Your staff is very cool, and I appreciate it.
Yeah, I'm very fortunate. What made you decide to become a comedian?
To be honest with you, I wanted to be a comic since the moment I realized I existed in the universe.
Really?
Even before I knew there was a term for what I wanted to do, I wanted to do it. I wanted to make people laugh. I've always wanted to make people laugh. I remember when I'm going to date myself, back when there was door-to-door vacuum salesman.
Oh my God.
I remember a guy coming in and I would be throwing down a banana peel and trying to act like I was slipping and falling. And so I was a class clown in 6th grade, class clown in senior year, and I've always just enjoyed making people laugh.
Right on. That's amazing.
Thank you.
And so now you have a podcast. What is your podcast about? What do you deal with on your show?
I have 2 podcasts. I have one called Punch Drunk Sports, and that's a sports podcast. But the one that I'm kind of known for is this podcast called Tinfoil Hat with Sam Tripoli.
Right.
We call it Spiritual Skepticism of the Official Narrative. Some want to label it conspiracies. I call it, we just take a look at the unreported news.
Oh,
and
okay.
It's really a history show, but people like to label as conspiracies because some people want to be able to dismiss it. No matter how many conspiracies come true, they don't care. I call them goldfish. Goldfish, they're people who only remember what's in front of their face. They don't tend to keep score on all the times that there's been all this quote unquote conspiracies that have come true. They only remember right here, right now. So they like to label it, which was kind of the CIA came up with the terms conspiracy theory and conspiracy theorists after JFK to kind of demonize anybody who questioned that whole official narrative.
Amazing. And so I would think that it's hard to be a comedian today, a real one, because especially for white people.
Yes, thank you. It is very interesting, man, that you said that, because it is hard. And like when you say it's hard for a white person, obviously we see there's tons of white people all over television. I kind of talk about this. There is tons of white people on television, but I always say, take a look at who these people are. Who are these white people on television? When you do deep dives on them, you find out they're all trust fund kids, they're all private school kids, and who are their parents? And their parents tend to be the people that everyone rails against when you think of like evil white guy. They tend to be like these super billionaires and millionaires who have made money on profits off of dark arts and stuff like that, businesses that we don't approve of, And it's just very interesting. So when you say it's hard for a white guy, obviously people are like, you're crazy. But the rules of political correctness make it so some people can say some things and some people can't say other things.
Well, the people of color can say whatever they want about white people.
Yeah.
Right in front of their faces.
Yeah, well, yeah, it's true.
They can call them racist. They can make jokes about white. They can point you out in an audience as white and make jokes about you. But if a white person did that to the people of color, whether it's black or Mexican or whatever, especially black, then all of a sudden your career is over.
Yeah, it's very interesting.
So how do you deal with that as a white man? Are you white or Jewish?
I am Armenian, which is 99-cent Jew.
Oh yeah?
Yeah.
So you are an Armenian Jew?
I'm an Armenian Italian. I'm Russian. My Armenian side is actually Russian Armenian.
Amazing.
From the village,
so
the Vaughn area.
If you were walking down the road right now,
yeah,
in Van Nuys, Well, where they, all those Armenians live over there.
Well, that's Glendale. That's our
I mean,
homeland.
Glendale.
Yeah, that's our homeland.
So if you were walking down the road in Glendale and some Armenians saw you, would they know you? Would they think that you're a white man, or would they know you?
They say inch best ass, and then I would say, thank you, I don't speak it. And then they would give me crap, and then I'd be like, well, my ancestors got here before your ancestors. And we play, because back when my great-grandparents came here, the whole thing was about simulating.
Yeah,
you wanted to become part of the collective, where now it's been niched out, and we can get into what that's about. That's more about trying to keep us all fighting with each other than actually becoming all one together.
But if you walked into a black comedy club, the black people would just think you're white, because you look white.
Yeah.
And
now here's the thing, you don't want to be the second white comic in an all-black comedy club. First one, they're like, this is great. Second one, they're like, okay, you're trying to take over at this point, and they don't enjoy it as much. First white guy, they'll give you a pass. Second one, they're like, what's going on here? It is very interesting. Here's the thing, you do a show, they got the comedy clubs down there. It's a wonderful comedy club. If I do, you know who really hates white people doing jokes about black people? White people.
Yeah, I
in
noticed
particular,
that.
white
I asked
women.
about that. Why?
Because you know what, they have a guilt that their life is so easy, and that they feel bad for people, and they try to be like, out of respect, but it's really that they feel bad for them. You know what's very interesting as conspiracy theorists, if you want to go back and read the Unabomber's manifesto, you read that thing, you're like, wow, he nailed all this stuff that's going on. And one thing he talked about was how the children of the rich would hijack liberalism, and they would make political correctness a thing. And it's not that they want to help any, let's say, second class, third class group that they see, or, they just feel bad for them. Yeah. And a great example of that was when, InfoWars sent a reporter to Berkeley, and they asked them about why are you against voter ID cards, and they're like, well, black people don't have a driver's license, and they can't get the Wi-Fi. So then they went to Brooklyn, and they asked black people, do you have a license? They're like, yeah. Do you have Wi-Fi? They have a phone. So it's actually that they feel like kind of sad for them. The truth is, everybody does funny stuff, and you should be able to talk about it.
That's right.
So when you ask me how do you deal with it, I head on first. If you tell me there's something I can't talk about, I am going to talk about it.
That's right.
And we'll see how it goes. And at the end of the day, it's like, I'm fine with it. You don't want to laugh, I'll burn the whole place down. I don't care, because you don't come and tell me what I'm going to do on stage. There aren't rules. I'm 46 years old, my friend. I should be irrelevant in comedy.
Right.
But because these young kids think there's rules to this, I'm thriving right now, because people want to come and get rocked. They don't want art that just pacifies. They want to be moved, and sometimes anger and sadness, that's an emotion, and they want emotions. They want to forget about the day. They want to get energized, either positive or negative. They want to leave there going, wow, I just got rocked.
And so what would you recommend to the white guys and ladies that are afraid to be themselves like that? How do they overcome that?
They just got to do it, man. They got to do it, and you got to go through it. You got to go through it to get to it, man. Yeah. And if you take a look, right now LA is going through a real problem with comedy.
Yes, absolutely.
Nobody's buying tickets to shows. Yep. They're only buying tickets to a couple of people, Joe Rogan, Bill Burr, Tom Segura, who else is there? Maybe 5 or 6 people. With the exception of this one comic, most of them all have in common one thing. They say what they want to say.
Yes.
They go up there and they are politically incorrect, and people love it. Now, if you look at on the road, outside Los Angeles, they call that the road. A lot of these improvs are being kept up by urban acts, black acts. And why are black acts filling comedy clubs? Because they're allowed to go on and be as real as they want. Right. And that's what people want. That's
right. That's what they want.
There's no rules to art, man.
Yeah.
If it fails, it fails. But you got to go and be 100% of what you believe in, man. And to sit there and tell me that black people that I can't comment on anything that black people do is just ridiculous, man.
Absolutely.
It's just ridiculous. You just got to do it and just be proud and just commit 100%.
Does it frustrate you at times that this idea exists where you can't be yourself?
Listen, I don't want to say any word. I don't want to do anything. I just did a show with a wonderful comedian. He did a joke about how he literally came out and he said, Trump is the N-word, and he said the word. And the crowd laughed. And it's a great joke. And I go, I could never say that on stage.
Yeah.
And not that I want to say the N-word, because I just don't care.
Right.
It's not my thing.
Right. Yeah.
I do a joke about how I like to be called it in bed, which is true. I mean, I hooked up with this Mexican chick. She started calling me the N-word, and I kind of got hooked on it for a long time, which is a weird moment when you try to tell girls to call you the N-word, and then that's a heat check, but that's a whole different story. But the point is, it's like, I could never go up and say that. In that aspect, it makes me kind of sad because it limits my art.
Yes. Absolutely.
I just want to be able to make every observation I want to.
That's right. That's amazing. That's really amazing. I read that you are you're into conspiracy theories, right?
Yes.
Define conspiracy theory. What is it exactly?
Well, the technical term is two people conspiring to do something.
Right.
Okay, but within what we're talking about is that something's going on behind the scenes to make this event happen,
right,
and being used to basically get advantage on other things. I always talk about this. The first conspiracy I was into, Santa Claus. Right? Santa's the first conspiracy. All your parents are together telling you about, this guy comes.
Right.
And what do they tell you? Be good, which is what? Blackmail. They blackmail you into being good. And if you don't do it, you get what? Coal, which is punishment. Okay? But from that, and then a woke kid, mostly a Jew, probably comes and tells you Santa Claus doesn't exist. Right? So if you apply that later on in life, ever since I was young, the JFK, the 9/11, then this Russian gate, all this stuff, I've seen it happen. The crack epidemic in this area, we saw that, and then.
So you don't believe Santa Claus exists?
I don't, but I'm always open to being proven wrong.
So who came down my chimney last Christmas?
A robber, dog.
Somebody brought me gifts and left them.
Somebody left you gifts? You're wonderful. You must have had a good year and been a good boy.
It was amazing.
It's amazing. What gifts did Santa leave you?
He left me a piano.
Oh my God, he got that down a chimney?
Yeah.
Was it a big piano or just a little tiny little piano?
Yeah. You know how you have the long electric black ones, you can turn it to the side, bring it down.
Maybe I've been bad, that's why he hasn't shown up.
He left me some clothes and things like that. And
Dad
money,
gets socks, right?
And money.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mom gets, every commercials, Mom gets a car, kids get an X-Pac, Dad gets socks.
That's right.
How do we get ripped on that one?
I know. The men always being ripped off.
It's ridiculous.
We have to pay for it and get nothing.
Yeah, we get nothing except for the bill.
There is a conspiracy out there that 9/11 happened by American government, that our government did that 9/11 deal. Do you believe that?
100%.
You believe that?
100%.
Amazing. And why do you believe it 100%?
Well, I mean, it's just the documents, the witnesses, the situation going on. Basically, you ever hear that former CIA, John Brennan, is a Muslim? Have you ever heard that theory?
No.
The reason they think he's a Muslim is because he was allowed to go to Mecca. And you're only allowed to go to Mecca if you are a Muslim, but people don't realize there's a small rule which states that the Saudi royal family can invite a certain handful of non-Muslims to Mecca, and John Brennan was there, and that's where part of the whole plan got hatched. John Brennan greenlit all 19 hijackers when he was told not to. Through the dancing Israelis, we realized that foreign countries gave them logistics. And there's a video out there. I forget the name. All I can say he was the head, I believe, transportation, an Asian man. He's testifying that he was on a plane with Dick Cheney. The jet fighters were saying the enemy plane is approaching the Pentagon. It is 30 minutes out. It is 20 minutes out. It is 10 minutes out. Should we engage? And Dick Cheney goes, did I tell you to engage? Did I tell you to change the plan? And he said that Dick Cheney said, no, I did not tell you to change the plan. If you look at, there were 5 buildings hit on 9/11. 3 of them were accounting buildings. Okay, the part of the Pentagon was all the accounting offices for the Pentagon. Then you had Building 7 was an accounting, and then the big one that nobody ever talks about is Building 6. Nobody ever talks about Building 6. Building 6 had a department there called the El Dorado Task Force, which was a task force put together by 55 government agencies. They pooled their resources, and their job was to search for money laundering for terrorism around the world. And if you look up Building 6, Google it, you could see they drilled a hole right in it, but they messed up because the actual walls of Building 6 are still there.
That's amazing.
Yeah, it's
I
crazy.
never heard anyone explain it that way.
Yeah, it's all there, dude.
And you truly believe this?
100%. I mean, these
Even
are all
at
facts.
the risk of putting 3,000 people died from that?
3,000 people died, and then I recently found out that the people who were doing some of the logistics of that were all asked to meet up in Building 7, and they blew that up and got rid of all the witnesses. That's what I've just heard recently, too.
And did you believe that?
Yes.
Amazing. So I have two more I want to ask you about.
Okay, you can ask me anything. I'm here for you.
Another conspiracy theory is that the world is flat. The Earth is flat.
Yeah, I've heard that. You know, it's like my whole theory on flat Earth is, I'll tell you, is I believe we live on a globe, but I only believe that because I was told that as a child. I've done zero research into it. And I know most people who bristle at that have done no research either. We take what we're told as children and we kind of run with it. I personally think we live in a simulation, a holodeck, and that's why we have infinite plane and all that stuff. So I'm never going to be able to convince anybody that Earth is round, Earth is flat. It's just really out of my whole thing. But my best friend's a flat earther, and he goes hard in the paint, and we agree on everything else. I know once you say flat Earth, people get but
Right.
I'm telling you, we've been lied to about a lot of stuff. What I've learned over time, my friend, is that what is up is really down.
We have been
what
lied
is
to,
down
that's for
is
sure.
really up.
Yeah, absolutely.
Over the long haul.
So you're saying that there is a possibility that the Earth can be flat.
There is, man. I mean, it's not my thing, and just saying it, I know everybody says crazy town, but anything is possible at this point, man.
If you
And
didn't live in Los Angeles, would you believe that?
I don't think anyone in LA wants to believe it, but they also want to believe that Hillary's a good person and that she's
I know.
that she got screwed by the Russians, which we all know that was a lie, and I knew that was a lie 3 years ago.
Yeah, I was going to ask you about that. The Russian, a whole deal that the Great White Hope and Russian collusion, and they proved that it never existed. It's a lie, made up lie. Did you believe that there was a Russian collusion between the president and President Trump? Did you know I call him the Great White Hope?
Yeah,
You
it's
knew that?
interesting. I wanted when Obama got elected, I wanted to believe in change, and after 2 years, I realized it was the same thing. Now with Trump being in 2.5 years, I'm a little nervous by just putting hope into somebody who's held the same office as the last 4 presidents who were completely corrupt and did real damage to this country.
they
So it
did.
makes me real hesitant to sit there and go, oh, this guy's different than everybody else.
I think he's proved he is, though.
Well, it's possible. I mean, like, dude, I want certain things to happen. He has enough evidence to arrest all these people, but he's arrested, Julian Assange. And, like I had Alex Jones on my podcast. He kept referencing WikiLeaks, yet WikiLeaks is the guy who's gotten arrested. So it's like, I can't.
But it's coming. Don't worry, Sam.
We're almost
Believe it.
election two.
I
We're
know.
almost to
These
election
people are
two.
running scared right now. They want to know what's in that
I
report.
wanna believe it.
If their names are on that list, because they know Trump is not playing around. He's the Great White Hope. The Great White Hope doesn't play around.
I hope, but
So-
can I just say one thing?
Yes.
His election, and I'll say this, if I am wrong, I will come back on the show going, you were right about Trump, I was wrong. I have no problem with admitting I'm wrong. But Trump's election is very much alike Bill Clinton's election. If you look, he came in, he beat an established candidate who was the DC insider, came and beat him. When they got election, his first couple years were all sex scandals and probes and inquiries and juries and stuff like that, all while deregulating, and all doing the interest of the big thing. So what do we know about Bill Clinton and George Bush is that you remember that election when they ran together, they hated each other, boom, 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 boom.
Yeah.
As we learned later on, they were best friends, and they were running coke through Arkansas. So instead, that election was more like when Andre the Giant gave the belt to Hulk Hogan. Do you remember that, Doc? And that was a big thing. So why wouldn't this be any different? Why Clintons and the Trumps were friends for years? Their daughters are best friends. I'm just saying. We should always question everything.
Absolutely. I absolutely agree. We should always question. Never accept them just because they said it. You have to question all things.
And we'll get to your next question. But for me, I follow some certain rules I came up with. I call them the rules of the Ronin. The Ronin was a masterless samurai. He had no master. And the rules are, I'm part of no group. I defend nobody, no action I wasn't a part of. I give no knowledge to those who do not seek it, meaning I'm not trying to change their mind on anything. And when I see something that I think is wrong, I right the wrongs. So I'm in no group, dude. So I would like to see Trump prosper because he's the president, but I'm not going to sit there and just co-sign on it because I think the Clintons run a satanic pedophile cult.
Yeah. You're funny. Do you want the wall to go up?
What?
The wall that the president is putting up around the borders. Are you in support of that?
What I would prefer is that we end the drug war and the Mexicans will go back to Mexico because have you been to Mexico? It's fucking wonderful. Excuse my language. I'm sorry.
Well, everybody does it now on the show, so it's okay.
But they're here because we've destabilized their country with the drug war. I mean, if you, what I've learned on my show over time is that the CIA runs the complete and utter international drug war. We're in Afghanistan. Why? When people go, I don't want to pay for drug addicts to do drugs. Well, your taxpayer money is because we have troops over there in Afghanistan guarding poppy fields. What do you think they're doing with that poppy field? They're coming here, they're making Oxycontin, and then they're flooding the country with heroin. So we're guarding them. And like basically Fast and Furious, Obama got busted shipping guns to the Mexican cartel. And this is the deal. We give them guns, they send us drugs. And Mexico keeps trying to legalize drugs so they can stabilize their country. Once we do that, I guarantee you're going to see a mass exodus back to Mexico because they'd rather live there because that's where they're from. But we've made it so it's like mass slaughter over there.
How do you know we? When you say we, you mean the United States, right?
I'm saying not you and me.
Right. No, I know you're not talking about the but I mean,
it's the
you
CIA.
mean the United States, right? How do you know they did that for sure?
What?
How do you know they did that for sure?
There's been records of it. The U.S. power structure is basically built by all the families that ran the opium trade. The Ivy League schools were created. Each one was created by a different opium family from the British India company, which basically ran the opium trade in the world. They sold drugs to China. Why do you think drug dealing is a capital punishment in China? Because this company was flooding China with opium, and the entire country was getting hooked to the point that the emperor had to say, "It is illegal to sell drugs, and we will kill you if we catch you doing it." It's all the drug trade, man.
I often wonder, where do conspiracy theorists get their information from? Because you guys seem to have all the information that no one else has.
Well, because
where do you get it from?
Research, man. Hard research. Forever there has been, basically conspiracy is this: propaganda versus conspiracy. So when I argue with somebody, they're telling me the propaganda that they saw on Rachel Maddow, and I'm arguing with stuff that I've read, whether it's WikiLeaks, books, talking to experts who've been there, done the research. The information's out there. You just have to go find it. And most people don't want that. We take the easiest way out.
Is President Trump aware of all this information you just spoke of?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, for sure.
He would be aware of all about the drugs in Mexico, where it comes from,
for sure,
and why they're doing it and all that. So if he's aware of that, will he try to do something about it, or he'll accept what's happening?
I mean, like, the truth of the matter is like, if you mess with the big pharmaceutical, I mean, look at, here's a great example. A gentleman, I forget his name, was trying to work with the Trump administration. He was hired by Trump. He was put in a position to attempt to lower the price of pharmaceutical drugs.
Right.
And he was found in Ohio after labeled committing suicide with 2 blunt force shots to the back of his head. They are gangsters, and they are very powerful, and big pharmaceuticals controls a lot of the narrative and a lot of stuff. And Trump is a human being, and there was a time where his daughter was flying and the engine went out and they landed it. These are signals to like play ball or bad things are going to happen. So there's the alliance that is pushing back by against the deep state, and I hope that they win, but it's a dangerous game you play.
So is there no hope to overcome all this and put it back to order?
I believe there's hope, but the fighting between all of us, that makes it so we don't have hope. I mean, what's going on right now in France, the yellow vest, nobody's paying attention to it. We're too busy focusing on Venezuela and Iran, but there's an uprising against globalism in France right now that the mainstream media is not telling you about. And
so the yellow vests are fighting against the globalism.
Against Macron, I believe is his name, and his globalist way of, and they're fighting against, this influx of immigration. But look at what happened in Syria. Once kind of Syria pushed back ISIS and basically us, you saw a mass exodus back to Syria.
Right.
People want to go back to their home country. It's just when we destabilize them, bomb them, allow violence everywhere, they want to get out of it like anywhere else.
If what you're saying is true, and I don't know,
it's fine.
It seems to be so easy for them to make us believe other than what's really happening.
Yeah, what's up is down, my friend. And it's like with the invention of, I think the internet got away from them. And now there's, I guess on my show, Jason Louv told me a long time ago, the internet has allowed us to have the knowledge of the elites that we never had before.
Amazing. Another conspiracy theory. Do you believe we went to the moon?
It's a hard thing because I'm not there. It's like, I don't know, man. It's just like, I don't trust anything that comes out of NASA. They've lied so many times. They're like, oh, we lost all the data. Like we had all these records from laying on the moon. We erased them on accident. And you want to hear a joke I have about it?
Yeah.
A Nazi, a Satanist, and a Scientologist walk into a bar. What do?
Have a drink.
Create NASA. That's who created NASA. Okay, it was a Nazi, von Braun, a Satanist, Jack Parsons, and L. Ron Hubbard all helped create.
Is that true?
Yes, 100%.
Really, I've never heard that before.
They would never.
I thought that was a joke.
Well, the joke was a joke,
Right.
but what it's
that really
about is
happened.
real. Yeah.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
So is NASA a fake?
There's a good argument. I mean, NASA's like, I forget what it is, $50 million a day or 50. It's like some insane number.
Right.
That it's just, none of their pictures are all computer graphics and not actually pictures.
Wow. So 2 more I want to ask you about.
I'll be here all day.
Most, not all, black people believe that the white man is holding them down. Is that a conspiracy theory?
Well, there has been institutional racism, man.
When was there institutional racism?
The crack epidemic was focused on the black community and making money off that.
Why did they take it? What was wrong with them that they took it?
Well, I as a man who struggled with drugs and alcohol in the past, it's a hard thing. I'm a victim of my own stuff, and see what's going on right now with the heroin epidemic. We see it going on in white America. They pull the jobs out. They flood it with drugs. You have no hope, so you start doing drugs, and then they throw you in jail. And then there's no males in the family unit. The children are raised without 2 parents, and it gets kind of crazy. So there are movements to, make it harder for certain people to come up. But let me just say that is also can be applied to poor middle-class whites as well. And that's what nobody wants to talk about. you always hear like, in Compton or wherever, it's like the single parents, drug addiction, there's no money. Well, go to upstate New York where my mother lives. She would tell me daily about how white kids would go to school, dirty clothes, dirty underwear, no lunch money, drug addicted parents. It's not black versus white, or it's rich versus poor. Nobody ever wants to talk about that, so that's why they get us all to fight with each other.
I grew up in Alabama on a plantation under the Jim Crow laws, and I don't know of anybody who grew up drug addicted or hating the white man or blaming the white man. Black people, and we were restricted. We couldn't use the same bathrooms as white people and all that kind of stuff, right? But black people did better under the Jim Crow laws than they are doing today, when supposedly they're free. Why is there a difference today as opposed to then? And I grew up in a woods house. I planted a plantation. I went to the field. You ever pick cotton?
No, I've never picked cotton. I respect
that what made you want to get on drugs. No, I'm kidding. But what's the difference in the blacks then than when they bring drugs in now?
I understand your statement, and I respect it, and there's definitely a ton of validity to that. I think right now we see that there is this giant. See, what happens in life is that when we don't get automatically what we want, we start sulking, and then you have this propaganda out there that's telling you that these people are holding you back, and they start demonizing people.
Yes.
So when a white woman grabs her purse, when a black guy gets in, boom, or when a black person their life isn't going right, they want to blame it on a white guy that they've never met before. Yeah, it's just a propaganda to get you to not want to. They just want to blame other people. We've seen through the hip hop culture, there was a movement to get away from like positive hip hop, moved into gangster rap, and it was like to teach them the gang banging and all that stuff. Well, who owns the record labels were the people who own the privatized prisons. So it was like this weird kind of.
But doesn't something have to be wrong with you already for them to know that they can take drugs in your community? You're going to take the drugs. They can lay guns down on the street, you're going to shoot somebody. I would never do that. Now, so I don't understand why we don't deal with what happened to the blacks, that these people, whomever they are, knew that they could put drugs in their community and they're going to take it.
I think that should be talked about, but they don't want you to talk about that because the people who own the news stations and the television stations are also owned by the people who leave the guns in the community for people to grab, and are the ones pushing the drugs on people. And yes, a lot of people say no to drugs, but there are people who just give in to temptation and it gets away from them.
And are those the people who lack character? Because if you're a moral character person, you won't take the drugs. But if you have character issues, either you're angry or you're out of control, then you'll take the drugs.
I think if you talk to people that I've known for years, they would say Sam would run through a brick wall for you and treat you like gold and help you out if he could. And I sure came to drugs for a short time, and before I had to go out and work on just myself and not doing it.
Why did you give into drugs?
Because I like drugs.
And what was wrong with you that you wanted or liked drugs?
Chicks like coke. They let you do weird shit to them on coke. So I like sex and coke. So I dig sex and coke. So I love sex and I love coke, and that's kind of what got into it. You
still love sex?
Yeah, dude.
Are you married?
I have a girlfriend, yes.
Oh, and you love sex?
Yeah, I'm 46, dude, so I like napping more now. I like to go to sleep a lot. But, in my heyday, I was quite the crooner.
Why did you love sex so much?
Felt good.
And why were you feeling so bad that you needed something like that to make you feel good?
Was I feeling bad? I was just enjoying it.
You agree with me that women are sex dealers and men are sex addicts?
That's possible. I know women are sex addicts as well. They like sex too.
But is it pretending that they like it to control the man?
I think they
really like it?
I think they like it.
Oh, and one last theory,
Yeah.
Conspiracy theory. There's this notion now that's happening that the Jews are keeping the white people down. You hear a lot of young white males and females saying that the Jews are keeping them down. They own everything.
Yeah.
They control everything. Is that true, or is that a conspiracy theory?
That's just laziness. That is getting mad at puppets. I get mad at the puppet. It's even beyond that. You got, well, Jews run the banks, blah, blah, blah. It's not real. It's this central group of, I mean, if you really want to get into it, dude, the whole theory is that that the missing link between us and monkeys is Anunnaki, and they created us, this group, and to control us is this reptilian group, whether they're real reptiles or just have more reptile brain, they are controlling us, and that's why why were there pharaohs? Why is there a royal family? What did they do to become a royal family?
I often wonder that.
Who are they?
Yeah.
Why are they there? Okay, so I have many Jewish friends that don't run anything. But there's this group of people that I think these people at the highest levels, whether it's the Vatican, the International Banking Organization, or whatever, wear these religions as masks so they can walk around us. But really what they are is they're into dark arts. And they couldn't come out and say that because we would go nuts and, string them from trees because we know what they're into. And it's not even Satanism. It's like Saturn worship. It's the black cube of Saturn. If you really want to go deep, man. And they all worship this, but they use these religions to walk amongst us and get us all to fight with each other. I know many middle-class poor Jews. I know many middle-class poor blacks, whites, Hispanics that aren't doing jack shit. It's this group at very high up of all different races and creeds, and when you really study them, they're all related to each other.
And their purpose is what? To control everybody. For what purpose?
Well, I mean, do you want to get into if they're reptiles? Well, because they're psychopaths, they can't create, and they feed off our negative energy.
Amazing. How come the people down below these people can't see what's going on?
Because they're too busy being the victims of propaganda and want to fight with each other. And it takes a real hard look going, wow, for the last X number of years of my life, I've been being lied to. The people who hate conspiracies, man, are people who their careers are going really well and they have children. Because it makes you stop and go, am I feeding into this system? And am I going to have to start making choices that might hurt my bank account? And people don't want to do that. And they don't want to believe that they brought their kids into this world that is full of very dark people who want to do very dark stuff. And if you look at like the black cube of Saturn, which is what they all worship, the oldest god is Kronos, okay? And Kronos, the myth goes, is that he found out that his children would be the ones who were going to take him out. So within this myth, every time his wife had a child, he would eat them, right? Which is where we get into satanic child sex sacrifices.
That's amazing. A person who is asleep to all this, they're just not aware of it, how would you get them to wake up to that reality?
There's belts to this, white belt to black belt. Start with the most simplest one and just ask them, take a look at this. And just be like, and just tell them keep score. Stop being a goldfish. Keep score.
I agree.
Why is anybody watching Rachel Maddows right now when she lied to them for 2 years about Russian collusion?
Right.
How is her viewership not zero?
That's right.
Why is anybody watching Fox News when they lied to us about weapons of mass destruction in Iraq? Why is their viewers not zero? We live in a country that suffers from Stockholm syndrome. We love our captors and we romanticize them. Stop. Rachel Maddows is making $8 to $10 million a year. She couldn't make that anywhere else in her life unless she became a power forward for the New York Knicks, and it's not happening.
I totally agree, man. That's such a good point you're making. Do you agree that YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter are censoring people?
Yeah, for sure. It's happening in mine. Shadow bannings. There was a video where a black midget was beating a woman with a belt, and the woman couldn't get away. And I simply said, if I was there, I would curb stomp that midget. Twitter banned me for 48 hours for promoting violence on a video where someone's committing violence. They're trying to control it, but it's blood in the water.
Right.
So there's like...
What do they want? Why are they trying to control?
Control the narrative. Dude, Facebook. So here's a very interesting story you'll like to hear. the Pentagon had a very controversial program called LifeLock, in which they were going to keep all your data for your whole life. They terminated that program February 4th, 2004. Do you know what was basically registered that day?
What was that?
Facebook. The exact same day.
Oh, really?
Was registered. Now the whole talk is Zuckerberg is a Rockefeller. Facebook, Google got CIA money as a plant, as seed money to grow. It's all part of controlling the narrative.
That's amazing. Is there a solution to that? If it's true, and I don't have a reason to doubt you, that Twitter and Facebook and everybody's doing this, what's the solution to that?
Well, Twitter's dying. Is like there's places like gab.com, which is gab.com. It's an independent. Bitute, I'm probably pronouncing it wrong, but bitchute.com. They are free speech. You can upload all your videos there, and anybody who's into your show, my show, whatever, can go there. There's no censorship, and we have to show how we feel through our money and purchasing power.
Yeah.
Google has lost $80 billion because their algorithms now. We will see if they change their business practices. So if they do not change their business practices, that means they are just a tool of propaganda. And we need to get off there and get over to these other formats that are trying to help spread the word. But they can't control it. It is blood in the water. They created this thing and it's gotten away from them.
Why is it that conservatives are censored more so than liberals? Liberals can say and do what they want, but conservatives can't. Why is that?
Well, because liberalism right now has been hijacked by trust fund kids who are saying who are now the mouthpiece of the establishment. So they're all going around talking about how they don't want a wall. They're anti-gun. Why they live in private communities behind walls, and all their bodyguards have guns. It's complete utter hypocrisy, and they're doing it because their parents and their grandparents all made money in the industries that they're trying to demonize right now, and it's just the truth. So whether the liberal movement is real or not, I say live and let live. I'm pro-gun. I'm anti-taxes. And but we've seen that these kids have hijacked the movement, and so they don't get censored. And AI's on Twitter now. These kids don't realize it, that these tweets and these retweets, they're all AI, trying to make them think that they're saying something important, so they keep saying it. And it's like a drug, and they get hooked on like these tweets and retweets, so they keep saying ridiculous stuff when it's just used to make us all fight with each other.
I asked you about the wall. Did you want it up? You never did say yes or no to me about that.
I mean, it's just I'm not really for walls. I love everybody. I want to stop the violence in Mexico.
And do you want the wall?
If I have my way, I go, instead of the wall, stop the drug trade in Mexico and free trade, bring all the jobs back, and I think everything will be fine. The Mexicans, illegals aren't taking your jobs. Lizard people in boardrooms wearing suits are taking your job. They're the ones shipping them out. They're stealing your jobs. How about we build a wall around lizard people? I'm more for that. I'll give you that wall.
And do you want the wall around the border?
I can't say. I'd have to do a lot more research.
So at this point, you don't know
At this point,
if you want it or not.
I mean,
I want the wall up. I want the big, beautiful wall and everything else that come with it. Oh, the wall going up.
If it goes up, I got my hands, man. I can't control it.
Why can't we have like those liberals do? They have walls.
Yeah.
And they have guns and they have bodyguards. They have everything. Why can't we do the wall?
Because I want to drive down an alley in LA and not hit a pothole. I want my bridges to be better.
But do that too. We can do both.
I guess if we have enough money. I mean, like, how
We
about
got
this?
enough money.
I'll give you that wall if you get us out all these wars that we're building other people's countries up. I'll give you that. That's my deal. You get a wall if we get out of all these countries.
We got to get rid of the Democrats to do that.
We got to get rid of the Republicans too, dude.
You're right,
Both sides suck. They're both sold out. The only thing the Republicans do is they can be more honest with their constituents. The Democrats have to lie because they all just want the dollar and they're all full of it.
Should the president do something about the censorship issue?
Yeah, I mean, I personally would think it's important, but I mean, like, dude, he's not protecting Julian Assange and WikiLeaks, who basically helped him get elected. So I don't know what he's gonna do.
But should he do something?
I think he should.
Yeah.
But dude, it is rotten to the core. Why do we have term limits in LA for state senators and governors, yet people in Washington, D.C. can go their whole life and never have to not run if they just keep winning? Why? Because they got them all blackmailed. And why would you want to have to blackmail someone every 4 to 8 years when you could just blackmail them once and just have them there the whole time?
But I blame we the people for that, the voters.
I couldn't agree more.
Yeah.
And mostly nobody wants to vote. They're told what to vote.
Right.
You know?
Absolutely.
I always get yelled at by women. They're like, we couldn't vote 50 years ago. You don't vote now. Unless it's American Idol, you don't really care.
That's right. Absolutely. There was an abortion bill passed in Alabama, Sweet Home Alabama, and I loved it. What did you think about it?
I can't tell women what to do with their bodies. Alabama, and I know you're from there, and I mean no disrespect to you, my friend, but it is bottom 5 in education and bottom 5 in economy. I don't want them determining anything that me and you could do.
But it's like that everywhere. As far as education system is screwed up.
But they're the worst of the worst.
Right.
So I don't want them deciding anything.
So were you happy about the abortion bill?
You want my true opinion of it?
Absolutely. I want your total honesty.
It is a smoke screen to not get us to focus that they are trying to false flag us into 2 more wars, which will get us up to 9 wars. And we've been having war since we were started, but we're up to 9 wars. Just to let you know, Hitler went in 11 countries. We are now trying to get into our 9th wars. And nobody wants these wars. So they get us talking about this over here and why they're doing all this stuff. Lindsey Graham's lying his teeth off, talking about this intel, about Iran's attacking this and Iran's attacking this. Iran is not stupid. They're not attacking any of our oil lines or doing any of that stuff. This is a false flag movement, just like the last wars they are. And this is all smokescreen, so we don't focus on that.
You think we're going to end up in war with Iran?
I hope not.
I do too.
Well, dude, you're a religious man. You study the Bible, right? This is old prophecy stuff.
Right, but I hope it doesn't happen.
Lost tribes of Israel versus pagans, man.
Yeah.
This has all been foretold in the Bible.
So are you for killing unborn children?
You really love this, huh? I am not for any of that, but I'm also not, listen, man, I am also not for telling anybody what they could do. Now, just hear me out on this, man. Okay. The notion that these children get born to unwanted parents and that they've made it to the Holy Land, foster care is freaking brutal, man. It is brutal. Children get kidnapped all the time, go disappearing, and nobody does. They get thrown into sex trafficking, pedophilia, organ harvesting, and just dark arts, Satanist worshiping stuff. It is a very hard life. I am a dick joke comic, dude. I have no clue what the answer is, but I also know that crime goes up when we have this thing, okay? And nobody's joining the military right now, and our crime is down, and that means prison is occupancy is down. There's a lot of dark arts with that. I respect that you have a certain view of it, and I'm not here. I can't tell women what to do with their body. My girlfriend tells me I can't get tattoos. It pisses me off. She's like, no, you can't get tattoos. Like, I like tattoos, man.
So I'm black and slow.
But you're a beautiful man.
So I don't quite understand yet. Are you personally in favor of women killing children in the womb?
I am somebody that I cannot tell women what to do.
No, I'm not asking
I
if you can
I
tell
have
them.
no answer to that.
I'm asking, are you, as a man, an individual, are you in support of women killing children in the womb?
I am for women doing up to a certain point. I think that if there's a baby formed, it's a human being. But at the beginning, women should have a right to do it, because the truth is, if we could pass all the laws banning it, it's going to happen in dark alleys, and we're going to lose our sisters and our cousins and our friends, and it's just, that's what's going to happen.
How
It's
about
not going away.
in New York, they passed a bill that even at the 9th month.
No, that's bullshit. I don't believe that's a real bill, and I think it's BS, and I think
You're
it's
not for that?
disgusting. I think it's disgusting.
Oh, okay. Are you for so-called same-sex marriage?
I have a lot of gay friends. Without them, I don't know where my life would be, because especially my recovery, my sponsor's gay, and I'm very thankful for the knowledge he has helped me to get through these dark times of my life. And I am okay with consenting adults doing what they want with consenting
But how
adults.
about personally, are you for same-sex marriage?
I'm for it. Two people in love can do whatever they want.
Amazing. I was interviewing a black guy just before you came, and he was a black pastor.
I love you. I love you, dude. This is a great show.
Thank you. And he brought a black guy with him, and just before the show, I asked who was that. I wanted to say hi to him. He said, well, the black pastor said, I'm engaged to him. We're getting married. I'm like, really? And so during the interview, I asked, is that going to be your husband or your wife? He got mad and walked off the studio, walked off the show.
I love it. I love chaos. So at the end of the day,
You sound like that line.
I love it, dude.
What do you think about the black pastor getting mad? Because I asked, is that going to be your husband or what? I don't know which one he's going to be.
I would never in my life be so sensitive to something like that.
Right.
But I also don't know what he's been through in his life, so I'm not going to sit there.
But he shouldn't have ran like that, right?
I think he should sit here and banged with you and then had a fun conversation. That's how I am,
Right.
dude.
That's right.
That's how I am. I can't talk about if two consenting adults want to be together in any capacity. We are part of a group that's committing genocide in Yemen right now. Our president, who you love,
I love the Great White Hope.
Okay.
The Great White Hope.
The Great White Hope, who was so personally affected by 9/11. He got on and he couldn't, there wasn't enough cameras that he could shout about how much he loved New York and how sad he was about 9/11. Just signed a bill where he sold arms to the country that we all know funded 9/11, and they are using those. But where do you think those arms are going? They're going to arm ISIS and in the genocide and helping be a part of the genocide in Yemen. And that to me disgusts me.
Amazing. And
I love it. I'll come back anytime.
and so if your girlfriend, you have a girlfriend, right?
Yes.
So that means you're not having sex and all that stuff because you're not married, right?
No, we've never had sex.
Right. Let's say you marry her and she decides.
She would love to hear that.
Are you going to marry her?
Maybe. Marriage in my family has never gone well, my friend. Everybody crashes and burns. It doesn't go well, except for one,
Well,
my cousin Frankie.
you're going to make it right. You'll be the second one.
Well, I appreciate your positive thoughts.
Yeah, you say your cousin is number one, right?
My cousin Frankie and his wife Eleanor are the only two where it ever worked.
So now you know it can work.
I'm down with that.
So yours going to work. But let's say your girlfriend, you marry her.
Yeah.
She's walking down the road.
Yeah.
You two walking down the road, and you kind of see a pretty woman. You look over, just
Yeah.
kind of glance.
Yeah.
And she's like 9 months, 8 months pregnant.
Yeah.
5 months, 6 months.
Yeah.
And she's like, I'm not having this baby. You looking at that woman.
Yeah.
I'm going to go and kill this baby tonight at the clinic. Would you be okay with that?
No, well, I wouldn't let her.
How would you stop her? It's her body, her choice.
Kidnap her, lock the door.
But what about the idea of her body,
My
her
whole
choice?
opinion is if you get married and you have kids, you've made it a commitment, and that's where you should commit to it.
So if
but
she
again,
ma-
I'm not going to tell anybody what to do. What
So
they
if
can't
she
do.
marry you, it's no longer her body, her choice?
I mean, it's her body, her choice, dude.
Even if she's married to you?
It's her body, her choice. Man.
Even if she's married to you?
Maybe, yeah.
And so how would you stop her from killing your child then?
Beg, plead, buy her a ring, buy her a new car, do something. Bring her to go see Barry Manilow, whatever she's into.
Amazing. So are you a man head of women?
I think we work together. We're symbiotic.
You think men and women are the same?
And same in what sense?
Are we equal?
In what sense? Legally?
No,
Yes.
not legally. Pure,
Yes.
you know, in the sense of man being man and woman being woman. Is there a difference between men and women? Are we
there
all
is.
equal, like the people like to say?
I mean,
what's the difference?
Legally, we are all equal. Women have the rights of men to do whatever they want, to achieve and do what they want.
What's the difference between men and women?
The difference between men and women is men can take a joke. That's the difference
That's for
between
sure.
women cannot take a joke. I've learned that forever. And they personalize everything, and they're the first ones to get offended in a show. Before every comedy show, me and my other comedians, we prayed to the comedy gods, please help us make white women over 40 laugh, because that's the #1 demographic for wanting to go talk to the management. They love talking to the
They
manager.
sure do, man. You are so right about that. That's amazing.
You're a great show, dude. I enjoy this. I think we need more of this.
Yeah.
More interaction between people. Me, even though you and I had a wonderful conversation,
Yes.
but the gentleman walking off, that to me hurts his cause.
Yes, absolutely.
Because nothing you're going to say is going to change his life.
That's right.
So just sit there and defend it, and at some point, the conversation will move on.
You're absolutely right. 2 quick questions.
You can ask me a million questions.
Number 1, I predict that the Great White Hope will be re-elected 2020. Are you on board with me with that?
I think you're right. I do like Tulsi Gabbard because she's very anti-war, you know, anti-censorship, anti-all that stuff. If he gets us in the war with Iran, I hope we don't reelect him because I'm tired of more wars. If all these elites in Hollywood send their family to the front line to go fight in Iran, then I'll be behind the war. But until they're sending our sons and daughters to go fight for bankers, I want nothing to do with it.
Sam, I'm very concerned about having Muslims in Congress. Ilhan Omar and Rashid Tlaib, or whatever her name is. They are anti-Christian, they're anti-Jew.
Are you okay with Israeli double citizenship making decisions in our government?
Double citizenship? What do you mean, like?
Dual citizenship.
I don't know. I've heard about that. I'm not sure because I think your allegiance should be to the country that you live in.
I agree with that.
Yeah, so.
I have no problems with Israel. I love Israeli twerking videos. I watch them all the time on YouTube. Twerking? Yeah. So, but I at the end of the day,
so does it bother you that we have Muslims in our government wearing that Muslim stuff and against Christians? Are you a Christian?
I'm spiritual, man. I just want to love.
Are you a Christian?
I'm not really religious.
Are you a Christian?
I'm not really religious. So
How
I
about
would say
Christian?
no. In what sense? What do you want me to say?
Period, just period. Are you a Christian?
Christian? I'm nothing. I'm a no group, dude.
Is that a no or yes?
That I told you what it is. I'm in no group.
So-
I'm not in your group. I'm not in that group. I'm not in that guy's group. I'm not in the Muslim group. I'm not in the Jew group. I'm not in the Buddhist group. I'm in nobody's group.
You're in somebody's group.
I'm in nobody's group.
You're in all those people's group that feel that way.
No.
No, there are other people
I'm
feel that way.
Ronin, dude. I'm Ronin.
Right, but are you a Christian?
No,
Oh,
I'm
okay.
nothing.
And my last question.
But I still love. Can you still love me? Can we
All
still
the way,
love each-
I love all people.
I love you too.
I
man.
even love my enemy. I'll deal with them, but I love them.
I will talk to them.
That's right. And my final question. This is a shocker.
Okay.
Did you have fun?
This was wonderful.
Thank you.
I knew the abortion question was coming. I was getting very nervous about that, but I appreciate it, and I think more people need to come on your show and not come in so serious
That's
and
right.
want to get angry and have a real conversation. Because if what you believe is true, you shouldn't be getting upset.
I totally agree. I absolutely agree. Anything you want to promote real fast? And you guys
I
think
just
coming
dropped
out?
my new special. It's called Armageddon because I'm Armenian. Armageddon. Go to youtube.com/Sam Tripoli and you'll see Armageddon.
Right on. And thank you all for tuning in. Don't forget to like, follow, subscribe, and share, all right? And Sonny, don't forget. Thank you so much. That was great, man.
Thank you, dude. I had a good time.
Me too.
Next time on The Fallen State.
He's a Democrat out of Indiana. And I think his name is Pete Butt cheek. Is it butt cheek?
Buddy gang gang? Buddy jag?
Butt a gay cheek or something. Butt cheek or something.
Buddy gay cheek. Buddy gay cheek. I don't know.
See, I'm not the only one. He kisses some guy in public, you know.
Yeah, well,
and
he's
said
married. He's a gay
that's
married
his
man.
husband. He said it's his husband.
Yeah.
And then this black lesbian out of Chicago. Lesbian! She's supposed to be married to a woman, right? And they were kissing at the inauguration.
People who are gay, trans, lesbian, whatever, in other countries would be murdered for it. Because I believe in human rights, so I just support LGBT, not the politicizing of it.
I don't accept it as a norm, but I definitely don't hold it as a
And that's
personal
your
thing.
right too.
Thanks for watching The Fallen State. We need your continued support. Donate to my nonprofit here. Subscribe and like the videos here. And tell everybody and their mama about the show.